now we move on to our next equally exciting session, because here we are talking about new sales paradigm, creative ways of selling real estate. So let me introduce our eminent panel. Let me introduce the speakers in an alphabetical order. First of all, I invite Mr. Piyush Chawla, Vice President, Head, Sales Marketing, Ashwin Sheth Group. Piyush Chawla has more than 16 years of experience in real estate, BFSI, and FMCG sectors. He is adept at driving business growth, ensuring profitability, capitalizing on new revenue potential, and managing all aspects of business operations in India and select international markets. Our next eminent panel member is Mr. Rajeeb, Head Sales and Marketing, Adani Realty, and he is a marketing and sales professional with FMCG and consumer reach background. Rajeeb has been building brands through innovative marketing and sales approaches and has been strongly involved in lead generation, sales strategy execution, and product development, including market research. Our next panel member, I invite young and dynamic Shyamal Mody, partner, Raunak Group, who is skilled in negotiation, customer service, sales, and real estate development. And he is a strong marketing professional committed to keep upgrading and embellishing the skyline of Kalyan, Thane, and Mumbai. Our next panel member, Mr. Sumesh Mishra, Director Lending 4B Network Private Limited, is a business leader with over 16 years of experience in strategy and business development. His key focus areas include strategic planning, building new markets, fundraising, and investor relations, and his expertise lies in the real estate and finance sector. Our next and final panel member is Ms. Nidhi Srivastava, founder and MD, Gravity Properties Dubai, and co-founder and CEO, Vibe Realty. Nidhi's international firm, Gravity Properties, with trade license in Dubai, extensively markets developers like Damak, Danube, Nakil, MR in Indian, UK, and US markets. And a second venture, the Vibe Realty, deals with Indian developers sharing solutions on end-to-end model from capital funding, sales strategies, and CRM. So this is our eminent panel, and it is my good fortune to be in conversation with these esteemed experts on the topic of creative ways of selling. So Nidhi, coming to you first, you have experience in a lot of markets, a lot of geographies. What are the new ways of selling are you seeing in global markets?
So Sapna, a very good morning to all of us, and I think very happy to be among all of you today. I think the global market and the Indian market differ drastically in terms of their approach, and the consumer behavior which we observe. While Indian market are definitely notch above in the real estate, because it's all about the quantity, it's about the quality, it's about how probably the consumer behavior is responding to. The international market today is a global market which caters to probably all the other community. So it's not specific about the consumer behavior changes with changes in the geography. So if you look at the international, say for example, talking on the Dubai front, you have consumers coming from different areas, like you have a Britisher, you have Lebanese, you have Indian, you have a Pakistani. So the consumer behavior changes drastically. But of course, the 4 pointers which remains static in the real estate is different factors, like psychological factors sometimes affect, the cultural factors, which again plays a very important part. You have the economic factors and you have the operational factors. So I think the basic DNA of a consumer remains the same around which it rotates. But it so happens that, these 4 or 5 paradigms differ according to the marketing mix. So for example, if somebody is in an, kind of a range of pricing, the pricing differs because there is a change in per se the component on, say, rupee versus a dollar versus a pound. So the capability on the side of economic, the affordability differs. That's how a global market and Indian market differs. However, when you are in India, specifically that you're dealing with people who talk about rupees, and there's a particular valuation, there's a particular ROI which matters. So yes, there is a drastic difference between the two.
Okay, so the ways of selling in other markets depends a lot on how the exchange, the foreign exchange, is also working.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
That's exactly it.
Raunak, coming to you, you are the promoter of the group as a developer. How has your sales strategy changed, compared to probably last few years? How have your sales approach changed?
So, hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's fine. Uh, so, sales strategy over the last 5 years has actually changed drastically. We actually relied a lot on outdoor or newspapers to pull in the crowd. But over the last 5 years, digital has actually taken a completely different dimension because now the customer comes in pretty well educated about not just your project, but also the surrounding projects, the infrastructure developments that are happening in and around your projects. So means he's much more clearer, and that also helps in the conversion because the fact that he really knows what is happening around you, it saves that amount of time trying to teach him about the location, project, and stuff like that, right? So it's a much more informed customer nowadays who knows what he or she wants, and they know about your competition rather than them being blinded by just a marketing blitz saying I should visit this project because I've seen multiple hoardings of it. So we've actually changed our strategy from a blitz to trying to be under the radar and cut down marketing spends and either get references in, right? Because a happy customer brings you four more, and also how do you say, empower our channel partners a lot more in trying to push sales, because eventually it's on conversion, right? It's rather than spending blindly, we rather spend much more strategically. So that's how we've shifted our sales.
So I think one of the biggest factor, as you mentioned, is that the consumer is much more aware. His research he has already done, so you don't need to educate him. So that is one big difference which has come from past few years. Rajeeb and Piyush, I'll come to you. Shyamal mentioned digital is becoming very important now. Channel partners are equally important. How do you see digital playing a role? How has digital marketing differed? Because as Shyamal said, consumer is much more informed because of the digital media. So Rajeev, how do you see digital media having changed over the years?
See, digital is there for some time now, but if you have to see within digital what is been changed, I think whether it's a digital or offline, when you get the leads, okay, the lead numbers have increased through digital medium, but there are leads coming through offline ATL medium also. One thing that is to be thought through is the experience part of it. I think whether it's a digital lead or offline lead, you need to make sure that the experience that you are giving it, that has to be clear to the customer and that has to be engaging, whether it's a digital medium or offline medium. Today, everything boils down that experience. If I'm creating a digital experience, then you be very sure that what you are doing as a digital experience. It cannot be only a Zoom meeting that you do and explain the project, but within that, you need to make sure that you are putting the product first and what is the kind of product features that you're explaining and how you are doing it. So everything has to be done in such a way that it looks like you are at the site. So digital, yes, it's doing well, but how much closer to reality that you are bringing it on the digital platform? I think that is critical. I'll give an example of AR and VR. Everybody talks about AR and VR, but today it's now been done to death in terms of the AR and VR. Today, what the digital space is looking more towards the AI ML. So if you can have a good data mining and data becoming the oil that's been there for some time, but if we can do proper AI and ML, I think that is becoming critical for a digital aspect. And that is the benefit of going digital. Today, if I can know the customer, and a customer is saying, somewhere I read that customer is saying that know me, show me, and help me. I think there are three phases that is going through in terms of the customer journey, whether it's a digital or offline. You know me. I think today customer is saying that you know me better. If you don't know me, then it's like you as a brand are going to miss out my business or revenue from me. Once you know me very well, then you customize, personalize my offering and show me that. So if you can show me that, then once you show me, then help me in closing the deal. And that help me can be, bringing the other stakeholders, whether it's a third party channel partner, getting into or giving you a recommendation, or a banking partner giving you a home loan mortgage plan, which is a flexible plan so that the client can close it. So the critical factor that we need to know is that AI ML in a digital platform, can I take it to the next level? Understand the customer very well so that know me part is taken care. So once I know the know me, then I know that what to show him or her. So that show me or show her is the part where I need to understand the customer, that he had come to the site already once, asked me about the schools. Is there a school nearby? If I know that part has been taken care through ML, then I know what to talk about in the second visit. So as a sales guy, I will be ready with my solution to the customer query that there are not only 1 or 2 schools, there are 4 schools, and this is the distance between the schools, and these are the curriculum which is running in the school. So that is the part of digital, going hyperlocal, making sure that you customize the offering. It's not that you can change the real estate as a product for each customer, but at least the communication part. Please customize the communication. You cannot customize the product, but customize the communication that the client feels that it's a progressive profiling that is happening. You cannot be saying that, okay, he has come to the second time and you do the same pitch to him what you did in the last time. So the progressive profiling is something that digital is going to help. And third thing is that once you do everything, help him out with customization, with offering that you have with all your stakeholders. And today, the last part that I'll talk about is your storytelling. Once you get into that experience at the site, today it's not about selling the product, it's selling the experience at the site. So at the experience, everything boils down to content or a storytelling part of it. If you start a good content and storytelling for your product, then you are pushing the customer to the end to discuss about the pricing. So kitna mileage deta hai, that will not ask it at the beginning. At least you're pushing down to the customer to the second visit or the end of the first visit. If you have a good story to tell or a content is there, then he'll ask the price at the end while going. At least he's convinced about the product today. If he buys or doesn't buy, at least he'll recommend somebody. So that storytelling and the experiences become critical. Leave about the pricing. The more that you can push the pricing to the end part of discussion, it's good for your product. At least you'll get a referral if not booking to this customer. I think that's becoming critical. And the last part, so Sapna, the last thing is that when we are as a sales professional at the site or a marketing professional, today what is working at the site, whether it's a new project or an old project, if you can create the FOMO. I think real estate people used to say that you cannot create an urgency. You cannot push a customer to buy now or today or tomorrow. But I'm saying that if you don't do that, it's not that today or tomorrow, but create somehow the FOMO part of it. So digital gives you that leeway that you can push the customer to different communication through a frequency cap that you built in the communication, but create the FOMO. That if you don't buy, you're missing out an opportunity. Create that urgency. And that urgency can be built in through your pricing going up or your inventory, the east-west facing inventory going up, or the inventory having a balcony. That's not going to be there. So the FOMO can be built in different perspective, but create the FOMO. And digital gives you that advantage of creating a FOMO or urgency creation.
So Rajeeb has given some good tips about sales, create FOMO, create storytelling so that they do not ask about pricing and, help them, show them and know them, going in the reverse order. So, but Rajeeb mentioned very good point that forget AR, VR, let's talk about AI and ML. That is more important. Piyush, coming to you, we are talking about metaverse and we are talking about, avatars in metaverse, setting in metaverse. But what about the primary channels, the email marketing, the SEOs, the web? Are they still relevant? How are they changing or adapting to new realities?
Sure, absolutely. So everything in real estate is all about transformation. How are you transforming your own self in terms of product pitching, in terms of customer experience, in terms of offerings, in terms of an opportunity that's been given. There was a time when people would say that the prices will go up. There was a time when people would say that the inventory would get sold. But today it's all about opportunity. what we need to create and what we need to communicate is very, very different than what we used to do. Coming back to the digital aspect of it, earlier people used to do a Facebook ad and an Instagram ad and would get tons of leads. But every day, while we see that the ad quality is kind of falling down, so people have changed the tactics of a digital campaign. Now they're doing a geofencing of a specific area or a specific profile, or they're doing a retargeting or a brand building exercise more on a digital platform. While we still come back to it, earlier a sales center would be called as a sales office. Today, nobody calls a sales office. Everybody calls it as an experience center. So Lodha being a pioneer of customer experiences, they've kind of spoiled the customers and the channel partners in terms of the experience that they deliver. They're always one step ahead of time. While we're talking about a 2D or a 3D model or a 5D model, Lodha has kind of gone up to a 7D model today in one of the sites. AI, yes, Dubai is one step ahead. Internationally, we in our country need to catch up before it is too late. When pandemic hit, people were not prepared of what to show to the customers. While Rajeeb shared that, we would do Zoom meetings, we would run through the product, we'll send the AV links to the customers, which is an audio visual link of the product. Today, we need to do 2 steps ahead, not even one. We need to know what the customer wants, and we need to know that we're trying to match the offerings of a product that the customer needs. How do we do that? Through AI, through non-physical experiences, what we would want to do. Because we can't be concentrated only on a specific city, specific area when we would want to do sales. We need to be global. We need to reach out to people who are based at different locations to sell a product. For that, we need to be as flexible as reaching out to tons of people, wherein we're able to deliver the quality experience that somebody would be able to do at the site. So yes, transformation is what one need to look at. Opportunity is one what need to create. While we look at it, there are several opportunities that come in the market which are kind of blockbusters. It's just not the pricing or it's just not the product. It's a combination of multiple things with a brand, with an opportunity, and the pricing. Obviously, yes, plays a major role there.
The primary channels like website, SEO, email marketing still are very important in the sales strategy.
They are. You need to create an aura. You need to create a 360-degree surround on the product. People needs to be talking about it. Hence, there is one digital medium that needs to be handed over to. Second primary aspect one would want to be very, very aggressive is with channel partners. While we look at it, almost 80% business comes from channel partners, though their psychology of business has changed from a relationship-based sales to a digital. So there are multiple channel partners today while one would want to work with. A retail channel partner or an institute channel partner or an NRI channel partner or an alternate channel partner. So there are multiple tags that we create apart from aggregators.
Right.
And their support system is again relationship based or a digital based or an SMS based or a telecalling based, depending upon how and where do they want to source their customers. But yes, digital is the platform today because we spend almost 60% of our time on the phone. Be it working, be it on social medias. So we need to be connected with the customer this way or that way.
Right. So what the understanding I get from our speakers is that it's a 360-degree approach where each channel of reaching out to the consumer is equally important. While we have new mediums coming in, the traditional mediums are also there. They are also equally important. Sumesh, coming to you, you have an interesting technology platform and as Piyush mentioned, the brokers remain a very important part in selling a project. So how is your platform, creating this kind of a communication between the consumer, the broker, and the project developer?
Hi, Sapna. Hi, everyone. So as everyone, I think in today's times, accept or acknowledge that 70 to 80% of our sales happen through channel partners or brokers. So we realize that there is a gap in this segment, and in this, there is no single platform which is available to everybody or everyone to provide this facility to all the players. So what happens is when you look at sourcing for or getting the clients through channel partners, most of the larger companies have their separate sourcing teams, and they build a distribution platform. But what happens is normally, if you see, one to many doesn't work. So if you see a channel partner, even if a real estate company builds its own app or builds its own SaaS platform or its sourcing teams, what happens is a broker has a very limited mind share. He will not open 10 apps of 10 different developers, or it is very difficult for him to cater to 10 or 12 different companies, teams. So he would like to go for one particular platform. So we identified that platform and we approached it with the help of tech. So for us, the approach is not a real estate company. The approach is just like a tech company, just like what you have a Swiggy or Zomato for food tech, and what you have Ola, Uber for your cab services. We approach this, solving this problem in a completely tech way. And fortunately, getting a backing from a player like InfoEdge, who has been the pioneer in this segment with backed companies like Zomato or 99 Acres or Naukri.com, the DNA of the company is completely tech. So what we've done is we have got all the 4 Bs on one single platform and trying to build the largest platform in this space. 4 Bs as in buyer, broker, builder, banks. So today, by virtue of the tech platform, in less than a year's time, we could get about 1 lakh channel partners or brokers on this platform. We get a plug and play facility to entire developer community at large. Today, within less than 1 year, we have more than 1,600 projects on this platform. And it is a complete plug and play product where you can display your project across India. So what happens is, broker being the center of the universe, and the dependency of almost all the developers is so high on the channel partner community. You need to empower the channel partner. So what we do is we give them continuous trainings. We give them complete notification on the tech platform on a day-to-day basis. We give them a lot of wherewithal in terms of customizing the brochure of developers in their own name, giving them cab services, solving their cash flow or working capital need. So that is how we've tried to solve this on the basis of tech. Similarly, for the buyers, or the end game of closing a transaction, the closing tools, negotiating on behalf of a channel partner is something which if a developer deploys a mandate owner or a broker aggregator, typically they spend about 5 to 7% as a sales cost. We have been able to bring this cost down to a fraction of this. So that is what we've tried to do by building this platform for as I said, all the 4 Bs, build, especially this match of getting the builders and the brokers on the same platform, along with 60-65 banks, which helps them in closing along even the home loans on the spot, and then closing the loop.
That's right. Enabling the broker is, I think, a win-win situation for everyone out there in the entire ecosystem of selling a project. Shyamal, you mentioned about, social media, reaching out to people on social media. But social media is also known to be a double-edged sword, because you cannot control what people may write on that. So what is your approach of when you are integrating social media in your sales strategy?
So any good thing always comes with something negative on the side. But I think this is the era for transparency. Gone are the days where you can hide behind, closed doors and do deals behind closed doors. As everybody mentioned, that now it's not just a sales office, it's an experiential center. And across the board, as Lodha being the pioneer, what they did was also, right, they opened up the sales in trying to make it as transparent as possible. Because earlier you would be led into a small cabin and it was a discussion between just the buyer and the seller. But now it's a complete open discussion, who's buying what and at what price. That's the same thing with social media, right? You got to accept your flaws as well. I think as developers, the more we accept our mistakes, because the bigger you become, you sort of lose touch with the end user because you've got multiple other things to take care of. If you're not in touch with what your customer, your broker, your partners in terms of from your bankers to your architects are talking about you, right? There is going to be eventually an issue that you will not be able to solve, especially the customers, right? Because one positive comment takes a lot of effort, but one small mistake can get you 100 negative comments, right? So you got to manage that well and own up to it rather than defend or fight. Because like any other, business or service, right? Especially service, real estate now is a service category. It's an asset, but a serviced asset. So there are going to be people who are not going to like your price, are not going to like your size, or are not going to like the fact that your your CRM executive did not answer their calls throughout the day, even though they were busy with something else. You got to accept it, calm them down, please them, and take it at the chin rather than hiding and saying, no, we didn't do anything wrong, it's all your fault, right? So the world is changing. You're seeing a lot more transparent developers. I think we were, how do you say, the moment you embrace technology, we started posting pictures of actual sites just to give customers that advantage, leeway, or the confidence, saying a developer posting a picture of his actual site and building. That never happened earlier, right? People started posting actual site pictures. Earlier, you were never allowed to go into a site, right? Now people are taking you to a site, they're showing you the house. There's a sample flat, there's a show flat. So transparency is the key, and also accepting your flaws and addressing them is a bigger key.
Okay, fantastic. So as Shyamal said, it's good with the bad, but the developers have to be transparent. They have to take it on the chin if something bad happens, or some bad comment comes in, and handle it appropriately. Nidhi, coming to you, we were talking about social media for NRIs, and we are also seeing a lot of social marketing, e-commerce marketing happening on social media platforms. In terms of NRIs, how are they active on social media? Is that one of their ways of researching for a project? What is the NRI behavior, especially for Indian market?
Yes, well, of course, NRIs have always been very active on the digital media, because I think the only connecting, way from India to across the world is the digital media. The irony of the entire thing is that, and I'm sure, all the eminent speakers over here would agree with me, is there's a lot of clutter which has happened on the digital media. So if you look back, I think about 7-8 years back, digital was fantastic. NRIs used to be very, very focused, because it talked about how probably, it's all about, as we, and as we have already spoken, it's about the depreciation of the rupee. It's kind of the currency value, and they used to get a lot of value in investing in India that particular time. But now the entire scenario has changed. Now the global markets have opened. So it's not only India who's wanting to have their NRIs back to invest in India. I think that time when NRIs used to be focused, the reason were very simple, that you're earning in dollars, you're investing in rupees. It made a lot of sense for you to kind of invest. 3 reasons for it was absolutely because you had a great rate, when it comes to high interest rates on NRE or something like FCNRs, which was possible that time. It was also there was also a reason where, it was for a longevity that, one day you'll come, you'll settle. So there has to be a property out there. Of course, there was a very, very good reason to, buy a property in India, which was ROI, which was get a rental income as you're staying over there. But the entire equation has changed now. So we need to understand that NRIs are not only open for Indian market, they're also open for a global market. So again, I mean, all of us will agree that, a couple of years back, markets like Dubai, market like Turkey, market like UK, US were not open for investments. But right now, what we need to understand for an NRI market, where there is an equation change which has happened, is that NRI, when we used to market NRIs, to purchase in India, we used to say that, hey, buy a property. It's a great area. So if there is a guy who has been living in Pune or Bombay, he used to get related. Okay, this is a local locality. There's a good rental, invest. But right now, the digital media is spreading informations like, you invest in Dubai, you invest in Turkey, get an investment value, get a residency. They say get an ROI, which is about 8% to 12%. So the entire clutter, which was only there before for NRIs, only for the Indian market, has now shifted to a global clutter, wherein all the countries have started marketing to our NRIs also. Yeah, so that's the space.
Which are the biggest competition for Indian real estate market?
Dubai is the biggest competition, and growing up is Turkey. So if I happen to kind of discuss, since I deal with both the markets, I think for me, it's very easy to convert probably an guy for a Dubai because there are n number of things to be stated rather than, really explaining why a property in Indian, because then the questions which arise are very particular. What is the return on investment? How am I going to do my registration? Say, for example, doing a registration in India, a person either needs to give a POA or needs to come down physically over here in India to register. Whereas if you want to do a registration in Dubai, you just need to exchange documents over an internet and it's all done. So ease of doing the business has also changed. So yeah, there is a paradigm shift now.
Okay, so
Sapna, I just want to add one point on the social media factor is the influencer marketing. Today social media is not about what you post and get the reaction and comments to your post. But today, if you can take influencer marketing as one part of your sales and marketing tool, there are a lot of opportunity in that segment. So today, it's not that to get a big celebrity and to do a influencer marketing, but there are different kinds of influencer segments that have been there, and that is very cost effective also to do a influencer marketing. Get them to the site, do a complete journey of the site, and showcase the project and the product, and then reach to their fan base or their reach. So influencer marketing today is helping to have a greater reach than any other media. I think that may be one of the tool one can use to maximize the ROI part.
That's right. Instagram influencers as we.
Absolutely. You can get any influencer to your project site and do an entire shoot of the project. And they're talking about the project as a customer journey that happens, and then take it to the digital medium. So you are doing offline and taking it to the digital medium. So there is a combination of both that you are doing it and pushing it in digital medium through different ways, getting the highest reach.
I think that's
and the good thing is the content.
Influence
it's a content.
Becoming very important part in actually every sector, not only real estate, but all the industries. It is becoming very big part. But Piyush, let me ask you, how about celebrity endorsement? Does that really work when someone is buying such a big ticket property, investing his life savings? Does Akshay Kumar or Shah Rukh Khan endorsing a project works?
You need points to talk to the customers. You need occasions to talk to the customers. We at site create them, be it lobby opening, be it topping up the top slab, be it sample apartment or show apartment or a celebrity endorsement. So while we see a lot of smaller ticket size customers have a very, very strong fan following. I'll just go back and say that when Amitabh Bachchan introduced a product like Palava, in Dubai as a market, there were at least 300 customers on the stall at that point in time, wanted to book while we released Amitabh Bachchan's ad. Yes, celebrities, people talk about it. Oh, I booked an apartment where Amitabh Bachchan endorses or Akshay Kumar endorses. People do talk about it. It's a common face people look up to. It's a celebrity that people would want to look up to and be associated with. That's the reason, not just apartment, they try and follow even the brands that they endorse, even the restaurants that they endorse, they possibly go and have their meals, like a Sachin Tendulkar restaurant or a Lata Mangeshkar restaurant. It's just not real estate, but the fan following that they have is so strong that they would want to get associated with. But I've seen that typically in a smaller ticket size, it works wonders. But in a larger or a luxury apartment, not unless it's a designer who's going to design your apartment and you're going to feel it and live it. I don't see a celebrity endorsement for a super luxury or a luxury product working very, very well.
That's right. Sumesh, coming to you, we just spoke about various. Do you think the sales strategies that we have been talking about also differ from project to project? What Piyush said, for luxury, celebrity might not, endorsement might not work. For smaller ticket size, it might work. Looking from the broker end, from the consumer end, giving that perspective, does the sales strategy changes with the project and the life cycle of the project? Probably what is the sales strategy at the project launch stage will differ maybe in the mid-cycle when it is nearing completion. Does that happen, and how it happens?
So Sapna, sales strategy obviously differs from micro market to micro market. It also differs from ticket size to ticket size. What works for a 1 crore ticket size will not work for a 3 crore, 4 crore ticket size. What works for 3-4 crore ticket size will not work for a 10 crore upwards. So obviously when you approach, even on the channel partner side, every developer will have a strategy or a separate team to cater to different set of channel partners. Similarly, what we have done is, for example, if we look at Bombay market, we have divided Bombay market into 8 clusters. And every cluster, we have deployed team according to the need of that particular segment of brokers. Apart from that, even in every cluster, we have further subdivided the team into the ticket sizes. So if, for example, if also as per the stage of the construction, because what works for people who are, say, for example, working people who are salaried, for them, they would always prefer to go in an under construction project because their payment or the EMIs is then linked to their salary packages, as well as they have to pay it over a 3 or 4 year time frame. Similarly, when you go to the ready completed projects, that is typically in people who are maybe self-employed, they would rather prefer to put in money in one go and buy something at the end of the project where they have a short delivery in mind. So obviously, the approach in terms of hiring your team or setting up or meeting your channel partners' need is completely dependent and is completely different for every segment, every micro market, and every ticket size.
Okay.
So that is, I think, stable, or that is, I think, every developer, every channel partner follows that. And
anything new that you have seen happening on that, and any new approach developers or brokers have brought in?
See, only thing is, Sapna, it is completely training. What we've realized is sometimes a channel partner gets so comfortable in a particular ticket size. For example, there are some set of brokers who feel that affordable or the mid segment of say 1 to 2 crore is a easy cake, or easy pie. So subconsciously, they put most of their efforts in selling those kind of projects. Whereas we realize that he has such a good network of clientele and he has such a good distribution in that micro market. We focus on training them to help them in graduating to meet the other requirements also.
Right.
So for example, if you have to give them a tool that instead of focusing on a 1 crore, 2 crore ticket size, you have the wherewithal and you have the team and on ground goodwill that you can also focus on the 3 to 4 crore or 3 to 5 crore ticket size.
Right.
So continuous training, educating them, providing them with all the facilities and services, that is what we feel is a 365-day job. So generally, what happens from the developers' end is they get activated in a market only during launches. So for example, now for a particular product, launch or activation will come only once or twice or thrice a year. So that is where their team gets, charged up in hitting the market and hitting the ground and getting everybody and creating that noise. But what we need to do as an aggregator is we have to be in touch with all the brokers 365 days and keep them educating and keep them, and telling them that what will work for them, and that is how they can improve their ROI, and they will obviously improve their own, help them in growth.
Shyamal, would you like to add something here as a developer, how your sales approach changes with the project? If it is a township, it's a standalone building, how your sales strategy changes with that?
As Sumesh actually mentioned, he hit the nail on the head. Training the channel partners is actually the biggest key. A channel partner having the network, the team, the resources, he's good at, acquiring customers or even explaining to the customers. I think it's a myth or a mental block that he has that I'm only good with selling a particular budget of an apartment, because many developers nowadays in their townships build everything from a 1 bedroom to a 4 bedroom. Right. That is also because in a 20-acre township or a 50-acre township, you cannot have 5,000 apartments of the same configuration, right? So you're going to keep on changing the configuration, and you cannot always go out and source different channel partners to sell the same township. So the more you educate the channel partner or differentiate your offerings with every new tower launch, or as Rajeeb mentioned in terms of influencer marketing, just trying to get the same person back again on site, because you never know what he or she really wants. That is the key in selling a massive township layout, right? Because 3,000-4,000 flats, 5,000 flats, you need to re-engage that customer over and over again. The channel partner becomes a massive key. Your communication has to be realigned, retargeted, remarketed towards what is the need of the hour tomorrow. That is the key in selling a township. A single building usually is very simple to sell. It's a quick in and out job. You know what the market needs or demands. Majority of the single buildings are in your western suburbs or concentrated between Khar to Juhu or up to Worli, right? There's a niche clientele for it. There are a lot of people willing to, relocate, move to a bigger space. nuclear family is getting created. So a single apartment is usually more about aesthetics and space, right? It's all bare shell because a person buying there is a high net worth individual. He's going to be spending upwards of 5, 7, 10 crore rupees, right? So gimmicks usually don't work there. Your elevation does, and your presence in the market does, right? Your brand recall in that market really does. Whereas in a township, you really need to re-engage the same customer again and again and educate them about the progress of the project and your new offerings. So there's a massive difference between selling both of them.
Okay. So fantastic. What our speakers here are saying that, one is the social media, one is the influencer marketing, but the strategies keep changing with, various projects, various localities, and educating the brokers, also engaging with the customer as per the ticket side. Like Shyamal said, that engagement with a person buying a few CR of property would be completely different than someone buying an affordable house. Now coming, very important part that has emerged in selling is the after sales service. As Shyamal said, that in real estate is no more a brick and mortar kind of an industry, but it's more like a service industry now. So from all our panel members, after sales service, how important it has become, and how are you, approaching it? What is your perspective on that? How you are doing it in your own segments? Rajeeb, starting from you, how are you looking at sales, after sales service? It's not just the selling, but as Shyamal said, referral selling is also very important. So after sales service, how you're doing?
Yes, Sapna, I think there are two buckets to the entire thing of after sales and service. One is that when you launch a new project, you depend mostly on the existing customer that you have. If you have a positive word of mouth among the existing customer that you have, then the new project that you are launching, that will be relatively easier to sell, because you get a first base of positive database, so that you can start your referral campaign through the existing customer, saying that I am coming out with a new project. So can you give me your referral, and you get something out of it. So that is the first thing. So to come to that referral part, after that, sales and service is becoming very critical in real estate today, because everybody is realizing that it's not only one-time sale. If you take the LTV, the lifetime value proposition, I think in the marketing and sales, we keep on talking about LTV. What is the LTV of the customer? If you see, most of the customers today are buying second home or third home. I think that is getting into the, it's no more that everybody is sticking to one home in the lifetime. So that LTV proposition everybody has understood, and that's where they started working on the after sales and service part. So what one can do, once the booking is done, we keep on doing events for the customer at the site, which are linked to the product, and keep telling them to get their friends and relatives. So one is that you're doing the event for the customer in a smaller group and asking them to get their friends and relatives so that they can be part of the event and they can see the project. So that's one way of keep on doing events and engaging with the customer. The second thing is that if you can make the customer somehow with a referral program. Today, there are a lot of referral programs that you can run with the customer, and they can be part of the system by giving you positive referral and the database being curated through that. The third part is the transparency part of it. Today we all talk about customer experience and after sales and services, but everything is linked to getting more revenue out of the customer. So whether it's a customer when he books his apartment with us, how you are keeping the transparency to the core. And Sumesh was talking about the broker. I'll tell you about the broker part of it. When you have a major stakeholder, which is customer, then you come to the channel partner as one of the major customer for a builder. Your transparency is critical. Today, one of those incidents where the channel partner doesn't want to work with a couple of developers because he thinks or she thinks that my data is not safe. So somewhere the data safety security part is critical for a channel partner. Leave about whether he gets his ROI or the sales conversion happens or not happens. I think today they have realized that the data, because there are so many channel partners, it's not, it's a low entry barrier category where you can become a channel partner with a RERA certificate. So it is becoming critical to keep my data security intact. So if I'm giving it to a developer, is there a system, which is a digital system, so that I can tag my leads and I know that what is the status of my lead? I think that is becoming critical. And some of the things that we have started already doing that is that telling the channel partner, you put your leads, tag it to the projects, and you will get the status online. That what is the status of the lead? Leave about the data security and safety part of it, but also you knowing the status of the lead on an online platform. So that is what has worked. And the same thing that we are building it for a customer, that if you can do a customer engagement program, events at the site, getting the referral and telling customer where he stands in terms of referral. Because everybody would like to be part of the system where you have something to gain from it as a referral bonus or a referral incentives. So that is where I think the system is more critical than doing the events and engagement processes.
Rajeeb has,
and everything becoming digital.
Right. So Rajeeb emphasizes on the referral system, and for that, your existing clients have to be happy. Your channel partners have to be happy so that they can keep the customers happy. Piyush, what do you have to add to that?
One thing which is very strong is that you need to show up. It's all hunky and dory while your construction is on, your approvals are in place, the project finance is in place, and you have regular communications with the customer. I've seen a lot of companies going blank. I've seen a lot of channel partners going blank, not answering customer calls when the product is stuck for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and they don't have an update. Is when people become jittery. You need to show up. You need to show them the path. You need to show them the journey of the approvals. You need to show them the circumstances that have changed, but you need to keep communicating with them. While you go absent, while you go blank, is when the panic situation starts. While I'll just add on something that Rajeeb said, that it's all about the journey. It's all about the process and the journey that one creates. At the organization that I'm working with, we have created a channel partner journey wherein he tags the leads for the specific projects. The walk-in happens, he gets a notification. The revisit happens, he gets a notification. The deal closure happens, he gets a notification. And in notification, when he can raise the invoice, close the transaction. Similarly is what we have done with the customers today. A welcome email comes on his email ID within 24 hours once the booking is logged in automatically, no manual intervention involved there. He gets an intimation that the stamp duty registration can be done once his 9.9% is done. All auto ticked. So that there is a constant communication with the customer, and there's that peace with the customer maintained all through. If there are queries, then there's an escalation matrix that comes to the customer on day one itself. There is a regular event that we do every quarter with the customers of the book customer for that specific product. Introducing them to a loyalty program, introducing them to a priority program wherein they get price advantage on the next product, they get payment advantage on the next product, or they get referral benefits because we own a mall, one of the malls, so they get certain discounts at that mall. So it's a way of engaging with customers. As long as you're able to engage well with the customer and communicate well, everything is fine.
That's it. Constant communication is what Piyush is saying, and so rightly said that it is when there is a lack of communication or gap in communication, that is where the problems probably start with the customer. Nidhi, what do you have to say in terms of Indian market? After sales service, how much importance developers, brokers are giving to it?
No, I completely relate with what Piyush said, what Shyamal said, and what Rajeeb said also, because looking from that aspect, I think first to start with, the definition of sales achievement has changed now, if you may all agree. Earlier, the sales used to be just sales, taking the booking amount, and that's deal and done. But now I think a sales guy is taught about what the SDR is, what is 9.9% payment, how the bank approval is done, and probably a sales guy is expected to pick up the call and educate the client. So yes, it plays a very important part when it comes to the sales journey. Second, getting a clue from what Shyamal said, a township probably CRM versus a single building or single tower CRM completely differs. I think it's not about the inner battery limits, it's about the outer battery limits also, because the questions like the township maintenance, how are you going to maintain the basic infrastructure? And then the sales guy cannot just go to that level where he's just taking the money of the consumer and he just go up and say that hey, this is the CRM team, please take the number of the CRM team, they'll attend to it. Wrong, completely wrong. I think we at the real estate, we've kind of evolved, Sapna, to that extent now that I think there is nothing like a CRM and there is nothing like a sales. I think a sales guy needs to know everything about the CRM. On the other side, a CRM guy needs to know everything to do with a sales guy, whether it is a brokerage disposal, whether it is about how the customer has come in, whether what are the different segregations, how the deal has been closed at different level of payments. I think it is all now interrelated, and we're very happy that this entire real estate has evolved over a period of time.
Right, right. Another very important when we are talking about selling is everyone talks about target audience. Sumesh, you wanted to add something here for the social media, in the conversation.
No, I was, Sapna, I was talking about the after sales service. So
Right.
when we talk about after sales service, we are more focused always on the buyers or customers. But if you think through, about the after sales service to the channel partners.
Right.
Now, what is the channel partner working for? Ultimately, he's working for his brokerage. So giving him 3, 4, 5% brokerage over a period of time, rather than that, if you give a brokerage of maybe 2-3%, but within time, that is where you give him the biggest gift of his life, because that is his bread and butter. So what we realized is 80 to 90% of the developers, they have a payment cycle of 60 to 90 days. And in some cases, it is more. And it is not necessarily because of cash flow issues, but maybe for whatever reasons, this gets delayed. So that is one problem that we also observed, and we tried to resolve it by bringing a product called instant brokerage, where we pay or we give limits to the developers. And we are very, very fortunate that more than 120 developers came on board, signed agreement with us, because they acknowledged this issue that yes, for whatever reason, payment or sometimes paying the brokerages on time somehow takes a backseat, and we get involved too much into the after sales and collection issues. So that is there. I think this is one of the other things that we have tried to resolve that, and we will we continue to work with.
That's fantastic. So someone is thinking about the channel partners as well. Shyamal, you want to add something to that? What Sumesh just mentioned, that you need to keep after sales services not only customers for.
It's for everybody. He's absolutely spot on. Sumesh is spot on. I think Piyush also summed it up really well. And I think the last point Nidhi covered, that yes, there is a sales team and there's a post-sales team, but everybody in the system which is in touch with the customer needs to know what is happening. Because if there is one chain that is weak or one chain that has a crack, the overall experience of the customer is completely ruined. Like, it's basically like, when you enter the Taj, from the Darban to everybody who's serving you is courteous towards you, right? So you want to have an end-to-end experience, including the food being really nice and the server being courteous to you, to everybody smiling, to everybody, well-dressed, the place smelling nice. Now imagine any one of those links not being good. Let's say a restroom of the Taj not being cleaned enough. You will have the best experience, but when you go to wash your hands or use the washroom, you come out saying, "Kya yaar, maza nahi aaya," So 99% was done right, but that 1%, right, was done not right. And that is what has happened with sales in real estate. And that is the massive transformation that real estate has gone through, right? It's been building up over the years, but I think today's generation, because all of us are pretty young, everybody's traveled, everybody knows exactly what they want. And the aspiration is much higher than I think what a generation previous to us had, right? Because the access to information is so easy. So I think it's ever evolving. And I think the next decade, right, you will see a lot more changes that happen. You'll see, I think, developers being a lot more transparent, open in all forms of communication, be it when the project is doing fantastically well, especially when the project is not doing well. As Piyush said, you have to stand your ground, face the customer, take it on the chin and say, hey, there is a problem, we are solving it, extremely sorry, we will make it better, And the next decade is going to be extremely exciting the way things are going.
That's right. I think what I conclude from this session is that we are talking about paradigm shifts in sales, creative ways of selling. but the basics have to be correct. First of all, we are the community, the real Indian real estate has come a long way from where it was. Shyamal has mentioned, even Nidhi mentioned that, it's much more transparent. It is much more in touch with what consumer needs. It's much more, as Rajeeb and Piyush said, in terms of social media, in terms of technology, how to use those digital mediums to be in touch with the consumers, after sales service. Sumesh mentioned about the new platforms that are coming up to bring all the stakeholders together and bring the transparent communication with them. So before we take the audience question, one question from all my panel members is because we are talking about creative ways of selling. So without giving away all your secrets, what is one creative way that you would like to share with our audience for selling a real estate? Sumesh, starting from you.
Since as I've been talking about the brokers and channel partners, and I've been saying that continue to pamper your brokers and channel partners, and this is not only during the activation stage. We should all take effort in making them feel important all 365 days, making them feel part of the family. So the more you pamper them, you will continue to see better results.
Pamper your channel partners is what Sumesh advice or tip is, the creative way of selling. Rajeeb, what do you have to say?
I think I'll try to use Metaverse as a platform to do a channel partner meet, so that Sumesh will be happy with his stakeholder. So I'll do a channel partner meet through Metaverse, then take it to customer proposition. But I think Metaverse is something can be explored for a high ticket item like real estate. That is something we have not done yet, but there is a good opportunity that we can create a good experience. So whatever you've been talking about, experience, storytelling, everything can go digital in a Metaverse platform. And that can be, first of its kind that you are doing a CP made through Metaverse platform.
So that is out of box, tip that Rajeeb has added, as in I said in the earlier, let's, probably next time we'll meet in Metaverse as avatars and having a conversation.
Absolutely.
Piyush, what is your creative way of selling that you would like to share?
All about evolving. How strongly do you evolve with your current economic and socio-economic scenarios? And you need to hold your ground, you need to hold your principles and keep evolving, keep transforming, be it metaverse, be it ways of storytelling, be it ways of interacting with customers, be it ways of interacting with NRI customers or brokers. You need to keep evolving. You need to make them felt present. And you need to be very warm to them.
Evolving is what Piyush is saying. Be flexible, be agile, and keep evolving with times if you want to keep growing. Nidhi, what is your creative way of selling tip for our viewers?
Sapna, I think my creative way of selling is don't sell, just educate the client. I think, and the client is extremely mature these days. The idea is to put forward the products. The idea is to sit by his side, listen to him as to what his current situation is. As I mentioned earlier also, it's the economic situation, it is the psychological situation. I think the biggest mistake with the sales fraternity is that they pitch in the product. It's not about pitching the product, it's by listening the consumer or customer as to what they want and offering them as to what their right choices is. So I think my mantra is very simple. It's not about selling, it's about educating a client.
They need to be advised and not sold.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So understand the customer's universe, what exactly it is. And
True.
As Piyush said, advise, not sell. Shyamal, what is your creative way of selling?
I think Nidhi said exactly what I was looking at. It is absolutely not to sell, right? Because all of us have always been interacting or meeting with customers. More than customers, for me, a customer is also the end user and the channel partner. Is only when I want to sell a project, right? The idea has now evolved beyond it. Let's celebrate every success that happens together with our customers, with our channel partners, and make them feel a part of the organization rather than being just a buyer or a broker, right? So for us, it's very clear. It's about celebrating everything together rather than selling you a product or a project or a house, because eventually having relationships with them in the long term is much better than selling him today something in the short term and then hearing where they say ये builder तो उसी लिए बुलाता है जब उसको नया project चाहिए, right? वरना बिक जाता है फिर कोई कुछ नहीं करता है. Same with the customers, right? You don't want to listen saying मैंने खरीद लिया, after that nobody wants to talk to me. Once, before that I get calls, I get a box of chocolates, I get everything. But once I've bought a house from you, that's it. All I get is pieces of papers and demands, right? So we are more into celebrating everything with them. We have the most amount of festivals in the country. And as an organization, for us, our customer, be it a broker or an end user, is at the center of everything that they do, because it's fed in from top to bottom that we exist because they are there, right? So we are very clear about being very, very customer centric in those places.
So last but not the least, as Shyamal is saying, build relationship. Don't think short term, think long term. So that was fantastic. Now let me take a few questions of our audience that we have received. One is, what according to you is the healthy mix of traditional and new age techniques? So probably the traditional and the digital mix of selling. Shyamal, what is the healthy mix that you are seeing between traditional and digital mediums for selling?
Honestly, this is an art and not a science. I don't think anybody on the panel can tell you that an X percentage of traditional and a Y percentage of the new age media will solve your problem. We are all learning, we are all evolving. There are certain projects that we did. For example, we've never done a jacket in Times of India, and we did it and we sold out that project in 15 days. Then there are certain projects that we've never advertised. We spoke to 10 channel partners that have always worked with us and they sold it in about a month. So it's a constant evolution. All we have to do is feel the pulse of the market, see what the market is telling us, be it a channel partner or a buyer, see what medium they're using, and spend accordingly, because every launch your percentage has to change. You have to evolve basically.
Okay. Nidhi, what is you say would be the percentage traditional and digital spends? What would be the percentages?
I think it's a mix, I completely agree with Shyamal what he said. There's no mantra for it, as in there's no percentage which is fixed on, but it all depends upon the kind of client also what we are targeting. So I think here the targeting becomes a very, very important part as to if you're targeting an HNI, you're targeting a middle income group, or probably it's an affordable. So I think I completely agree with Shyamal what he said is there's no mantra for it. But yes, I think we stick to the basics. There are few techniques in marketing which cannot be avoided, which is something like a digital marketing. Even if the product is an MIG or an affordable, we need to have a digital marketing space. Probably there are certain techniques which we can explore over a period of time, maybe in a digital, the SEO, or probably a Google, when and where needs to be done, depends upon the product. So I think, yes, there is a mix while we maintain a hygiene of having a basic traditional grounds on marketing.
Okay, so that again, what Nidhi is saying, it will keep changing in terms of the segment.
But Sapna, just to add one bit of it, at the end of the day, what we are looking for is reach or the distribution. So if the reach comes through my distribution, which is my channel partner, then the mix changes completely. So there's nothing that, I need to add the reach as a totality. So whether it's happening to marketing team or the sales team, at the end as a company, I need a reach. And if the sales team does my reach, then I may not need the marketing part to be so much active or so much to spend on the project. So at the end, it's a reach.
Overall, at the start of a project or something, do you have some kind of a percentage spends on
it depends on the ticket size of the project and also the stage of the project. Like in the initial phase, obviously you'd like to create a buzz through digital medium because that's easier to be done and with a less expense. So because you can put a percentage to it, but the issue is that digital is the cost per lead is lower than any other media. Okay. So with the cost per lead being lowest, if I spend 30 to 40% of my budget, that's huge. I may be spending 50 to 60% on ATL, which is including outdoor, print to an extent, and the other thing. But the 30 to 40% of my budget, which I put in digital, that's maximum because the CPL is much lower. in digital platform.
Piyush, you also agree that, although at the starting point, you might, of a budget, you might have certain percentage allocated to mediums, and that might change, or does it remain?
No, absolutely. While people might not agree to it, but today giving an ad in a newspaper is just getting a 20-minute mind share in the morning, and then nobody would even remember it. At least with digital, I can do a recall marketing and retargeting marketing, and there is enough sustenance built up with the customers there. I'm there on top of the mind recall with the customers, at least on digital front. It becomes very, very cheap, very economical, and very easy to fit in the budget while going on a media platform.
What percent of your budget goes in that?
In terms of marketing budget, we spend about 30% on digital spends.
Okay, all right. So that was the question. Sumesh, you have certain numbers to share, what percentage developers are spending on traditional and what percentage of their budgets they are spending on digital.
So, Sapna, it's very simple, as everyone has agreed that home buying is one of the biggest event of any customer, and biggest event of his life, and typically 5 to 10 members of the family get involved in that decision making. Typically, a customer visits 5 to 7 sites before making that final decision on what product or what home is the ideal property for him. So during that span, when he visits the site first time and then takes his family members to finally taking a decision of buying that apartment, showing his family members who may be staying outside of the city, tech plays an important role, and digital medium play a very important role during that time space. Similarly, for the channel partners, they have 20 projects in a micro market to sell. What continuously hits them is something which is easily available on his phone, or which is easily hitting him on a everyday basis, every minute basis. So capturing mind share will only happen with the digital media or a tech media. So obviously, we believe during that span of launches, we see 60 to 70% spends on the digital media.
Okay, fantastic. So I think, our panel has answered that question, but, unfortunately, we won't be able to take more. But I think we have got a good gist of what's happening in terms of sales in Indian real estate, in terms of NRI markets. Nidhi has mentioned that there is a tough competition Indian real estate has now from other international markets. Rajeeb,
Sapna, I'll just add, I'm so sorry. Don't call them NRI, call them global citizens now. They're no more NRIs, they're global citizens.
So they are more global citizens, no more just NRIs, although we like to, refer to them, still consider them Indians. So Rajeeb and Piyush very nicely have mentioned how after sales service is becoming important, referral is becoming important, social media, how that is changing the entire paradigm shift of sales. Shyamal Mody, as a developer, has mentioned how they are looking at building relationships with customers and channel partners. Sumesh mentioned about how channel partners have become a very important entity, and they are something who have to be looked after, if not as customers, but very near to what you would do for your customers. So thank you so much for sharing your viewpoints with us. I think we got to know some very new ways or novel ways how real estate is actually changing and transforming, with the changing times. So thank you so much, Shyamal, for being here with us today. Nidhi, for sharing your views. Piyush, Rajeeb, for being here with us today, talking to us. And Sumesh, sharing your perspective on the Indian real estate selling. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you, Sapna. Thank you, everyone.